See, this is like what happens.
And
um,
we're live.
and we're live. Good. Awesome. 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 Hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient as we had momentary lapses in technical abilities. I'm just going to check to see.
Not technical difficulties, allow technical ability.
Hold on. Are you seeing it live on your end?
On the watch room, remember, it takes like a couple minutes to catch up.
Okay, got it. Okay, so
intro time.
intro
Hi,
time.
everyone.
Hello, there we go. There it is. Just paused it. Excellent. Okay, so pausing this, moving this over. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. Welcome to the third installment of Glampire Chat, hosted by myself, Alexis, Misstrenchcoat, and my darling bestie, Lisa Marie, Paper and Glam. Today, we are going to be talking about the subject of marketing, which is a topic that I know is near and dear to every girl boss's heart. So we would like to welcome you and say a hello to our strange and charmed ones and our Glam fam. So Lisa Marie, do you want to say hello before I do like a full intro?
Sure. Hey, Glam fam. Thank you guys so much for joining and for just being so supportive of what Alexis and I create for you guys. We appreciate you. And yeah, let's go ahead and get the party started.
Excellent. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we've got a whole rundown. I'm going to do an intro. And Lisa and Marie and I have our little spiels prepared. And then we will be going to questions that have been asked from our community and social media, and we'll be taking questions live. So if you could share your question, hold your questions until later in case we get a lot of questions coming in. We just want to make sure we're taking them at the appropriate time. Also, at this moment, go ahead and make sure you've got your cups of tea and your notebooks or your planners ready, because you're about to be getting a lot of notes on Lisa Marie and our #1 marketing secret, which I'm sure that probably brought a lot of you guys here. So let's have a little bit of fun. And before we start with the intro, why don't you guys just say a brief hello and let us know where you're from? Like, that might be fun. So give us a hello in the comment section. If you're in YouTube, watching this from YouTube, you should have the live chat in there. So let's say hello, and maybe we'll do a few shout outs as we go along. So to start on this topic of marketing, sorry, I have like all these notes all over the place. Okay, so marketing. What is marketing and why is it important? Okay.
So where you're from, like, that might be fun.
Oh, I just started hearing myself.
Apologies, my bad.
Was that you? Okay, just wanted to make sure I didn't have something up.
No, for some reason the feed was really, really late on mine. So if anyone else is still waiting, mine just kicked in too.
Yeah, I think some people were saying their screen was still black. So here we go. Now we got some things. We've got Mandy Jean from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, Sean in Atlanta, Olivia in Jersey, Mackenzie in Toronto, Canada. Smart Alecki from New York City. Welcome, you guys. Welcome, welcome. Got a couple of Georgia Peaches in there. That's cute. You guys should connect and start a blogging posse. Okay, so what is marketing and why is it important? Okay, so Google tells us, almighty Google, which you guys know, if you need to know anything, Google is your best friend. Marketing is the way companies interact with consumers to create relationships that are beneficial to both parties. Businesses use marketing to identify their audience before advertising to them. Today, this is most visible through social media interactions and contests. So that came from Mashable via Google. Basically, to me, marketing is the way that brands interact with their audience. They gain knowledge and insight into the way their audience thinks and behaves, and ultimately create a community around their products and services. So, you know, a lot of all businesses, especially the major ones, do a really great job of marketing, and some of them do a better job than others. But, you know, the concept of community is really big for Lisa Marie and I, and marketing is a really great way to build community and kind of interact with your community, and while you're promoting yourself and your products and your services at the same time. So I did mention in there that a little bit of social media, and I'm going to have a little bit of caveat in a moment, because we're going to be talking about social media today, but only through the context of marketing. So let's go ahead and really quickly talk about what marketing is not, so that we're kind of being clear, because I think a lot of times people get marketing confused with another popular term, advertising. Okay, so advertising is a component of marketing where you're bringing in the help of outside establishments to promote your brand or products or services. So an example of that would be you put an advertisement in the newspaper for your business. You're relying on the newspaper's existing audience to promote your product. Whereas in marketing, it's overall, it's more the business, the company in and of itself that's doing the promoting and the interacting. So it's much more direct, which is why it's much more community driven, at least specifically in the way that Lisa Marie and I do it. So like we said, we're going to be talking today about our #1 marketing secret. And we're also going to be giving you guys our marketing strategies, more or less, the way that we view marketing and how we use marketing across of our different platforms. And we're going to be talking a little bit about how we use social media. Now, I just want to be clear that we think that we might do another video dedicated to social media overall. So today, we're just going to be talking about social media in terms of how you use it for marketing, and how that kind of interacts, not really the grander scheme of social media as a whole. So, Lisa Marie, anything to add to that outline of mine, the intro of mine?
No, I think that was good. And I just want to reiterate, sometimes marketing gets a dirty word, it becomes a dirty word because we're all spammed to the hill, right? We can't even go on anywhere without seeing spam. You can't drive down the road, you can't watch TV, listen to music if you're using like Pandora or Spotify without, a premium version. No matter where we are, we're constantly being bombarded with advertising and or marketing. So sometimes marketing can feel like this kind of big, scary beast. Like you really want to do it well because you don't want to be that person. And I personally really struggle with self-promotion. It's really hard to promote yourself. But the reality is, you can have the best product, you can have the best invention, the most helpful or inspiring product, but if no one, or say you don't have a shop, say you just are writing a blog, or you've created something, whether that's a product or a brand, you're not anywhere if no one knows you exist. People have to know you exist. Gone are the days when, you could just start and people would find you. That's not the reality. And I think sometimes when we talk about people think that, you can just start a blog and magically people will start reading, and the internet and the market is just so saturated. That's not true anymore. Maybe it's true like at the dawn of the internet and the dawn of kind of content creation, but it's definitely true. Marketing is so important because if no one knows you exist, it's very difficult to have a business. And some of you have written us emails that say, I don't have a business, I don't have write a blog, or I just want to create a Christian lifestyle magazine or something. That regardless of what you're trying to do, right, you still need an audience, you still need a community. What's the saying that, you guys can tell me if you know this quote, but it's like, a leader is someone who has people following them. If no one's following you, you're just taking a walk, right? And that's totally fine. It's fine to have something that you create for yourself. In a lot of ways, people in Glam started that way. But I just want to really make everyone comfortable that marketing is essential for every business.
Absolutely. That's a really great point, because I do think that a big problem that a lot of people have, I think women have this problem in general with promoting themselves. And we get these questions all the time, like, how do I sell my product without being too salesy? Like, we have our own philosophies of that. Lisa Marie and I both, sell things, but have you ever really felt like we were being salesy? I would venture to guess not, or at least I'd hope not, because I know that both Lisa Marie and I have a very authentic way of interacting with people and showing people our products. And that leads into like our number one marketing secret, which is what really makes this easy for us, is that we are able to share our products and our services with you guys, with the world, and not feel like we're like used car salesmen, you know what I mean? Because we are doing it in this authentic, very natural, very conversational way, in my opinion. So should we start off with that, Lisa Marie? Just give them our number one marketing secret right now. Just show it all to them.
Definitely. Let's front load this. But one quick thing that I wanted to clarify, if you have questions specifically about what we're talking about, if I'm not making myself clear, please ask. Don't feel like you need to hold that question till the end. But if you have a question that we haven't addressed yet, or it's not quite, we're not quite there in the discussion yet, definitely hold those. But if I'm not making myself clear, or you want me to elaborate on something I said, or you want Alexis to expand, really unpack something, please ask questions. We don't want this to be like a silent chat by any means. And please feel free to talk amongst yourself. I kind of derailed us on the last branding chat, and Alexis ended up rapping, and it was great, and I don't regret it. Hopefully you guys don't either. We're trying to stay on topic and really get you guys the most information we can in this hour and a half.
Yeah, if you guys are lucky, I may rap again. So I could probably weave that into this one. So yes, absolutely. I second that. If you guys want us to clarify, let us know. But try to save like any big questions that are different than what we're talking about right now to the end, so that we can see it all, so we don't have to go back and look through the feed. It just makes it easier, and we can take questions at the appropriate time. So you guys have been waiting. What is our number one marketing secret? I feel like there should be a roll call here. It is content. It is content creation, you guys. Our number one marketing secret is content creation. For some businesses, content creation doesn't make sense, but for businesses like Lisa Marie and ours, original content creation is our bread and butter. Both Lisa Marie and I, although we've got our shops and we've got our products that we sell, a majority of the work that we do technically is marketing, because we're always creating content. So really, in our opinion, content is the way. When you're providing high quality, useful, informative content, people don't feel like they're being sold to, because essentially you're not really selling anything. You're just sharing information with people. Think about, the way that Lisa Marie and I think about our communities is that you guys are like our girlfriends, right? So Lisa Marie's got her glam girlfriends, and I got my charmed girlfriends. And it's like I'm sharing recommendations and information with my girlfriends. You know what I mean? So it makes it really easy when we're creating our content, because we are just being our authentic selves. We're showing you guys things that we love. We're talking about issues that are important to us. And we're really making content the main focus, not our products. You guys know Lisa Marie and I give so much away. We give so much away for free to you guys. You guys could be in our community and experience so much and never purchase a thing from us. And you could probably have so much value that's been added to your lives. And that's because of really good content creation. So on that note, I want to turn it over to Lisa Marie to start with her marketing strategies.
Okay, before I get started, I just want to make sure no one feels like we did a bait and switch. Custom content creation is the future of marketing, period. That's what all big companies are doing. They are creating custom content to market their products. Gone are the days of direct mailing, right? Gone are the days of really email marketing. Like, we all get way too much email. It's not fun anymore. It's a chore. Gone are those days. Now it's all about curating a brand that helps people. That's what marketing should be about. So anything you create for your brand should be in that vein. So I think, Alexis, because you're the pro here, be one of us who's really, you're making a living out of this, right? We all know that Alexis, in less than a year, I think 6 months, has become a fully supported business. She doesn't need outside income to support herself or to support her business. And so I think that we approach marketing very differently for that reason. So I'm going to kind of compare and contrast a little bit. So when I market for Paper and Glam, it's because it's fun, right? I have to define my success with Paper and Glam is how much fun I'm having. You guys know I have a full-time job. I can't do two things professionally, and I don't think anyone can. And when I say professionally, it means this is what you do to make money. I might make, money from Paper and Glam, and I do make money from Paper and Glam, but it's not what's keeping me sleeping indoors and eating food. My day job is keeping that part of my life intact, paying the bills. So when I create content for Paper and Glam, I don't necessarily, and to my own fault, Alexis is doing everything right from a marketing perspective. But I want to point out that I may not be the best example if you are a small business owner and you are exclusively doing your business and creating content for your business, because I really want Paper and Glam to be fun. I want it to be fun for you, and I want it to be fun for me, because I want Paper and Glam to be the thing that I do after a 40-hour work week to unwind. It has to be, otherwise things aren't going to get done. So when I create Paper and Glam, it's, at the end of the day, paperandglam.com, I want it to be the story of my life. So that's how Paper and Glam started. I am just by nature a memory keeper and a life documenter. I really want, when one day I'm going to be gone, which we all know, and so are all of you, and I hope that someone is reading Paper and Glam and they are thinking, this is as true as it was today than it was 100 years ago. That's how I look at Paper and Glam, especially, this past year has been a bit of an anomaly, but until about August of last year, Paper and Glam was really the book of my life. It was the story of my life. Your life is your message, and that quote, like, make sure it's inspiring. That's really how I looked at Paper and Glam. And in that vein, there's a verse in the Bible, it's Psalm 90, and it was written by Moses, and it says, teach me to number my days that I might gain a heart of wisdom. And that is, if there was one sentence that was the heart behind Paper and Glam, that is it. I'm sure you guys have had the situation where it's Halloween and like you feel like you're back at summer, or it's like Christmas and you feel like it's like fall, and you're like, where is the time going? I know I look back at my 20s and I'm like, holy moly, Alexis and I are going to Aruba in a couple weeks to celebrate 29th birthday, and I feel like I just graduated from college. So that feeling of that frenetic, like time is passing, is what I want to stop, and what the heart behind Paper and Glam is. I want to create content that helps people live well. And I have a lot of ways of doing that, right? You guys know I live seasonally. You know that I scrapbook and I take a picture a day every day. So that is really the heart behind Paper and Glam. It's really, of course I use Paper and Glam as the hub for all things that I create. So if I put something new up in the shop, it goes on Paper and Glam. If I, make you guys a life list, that goes on Paper. If I do a tutorial for YouTube, that also goes on Paper and Glam. So paperandglam.com is really the hub for most things I create. It's not everything, because I do create content for 3 separate channels, and as does Alexis, and those channels are paperandglam.com, YouTube, and Instagram, and we're going to unpack each of those one by one. But I just want to I really just want you guys to understand that anytime you're creating content, you're marketing. And anytime you're marketing, you should be creating content. Your goal should be creating something that is inspiring and informative, at least one of the two, but preferably both. So that's how I look at marketing for Paper and Glam. You guys know I give a ton away, like Alexis said. I have more free things in my shop than I do paid things. I make, and I hope that it stays that way, and I don't plan to change that. I want Paper and Glam to be a fun place for you to get fresh inspiration every day. And if you're creating content that's helpful and that's uplifting and that is different and kind of rises above the noise, marketing is going to be like the last thing you're going to have to worry about. And one question that we got was about how much money do we think you should spend on marketing for a new business. I have never spent $1 on marketing, and you won't ever need to if we're creating content that people don't want to miss. And remember, everyone's not your audience. I'm not sitting here thinking that every post I on paperandglam.com, like, people think is unmissable. That's my goal, shoot for the moon, land on the stars type of thing. But at the end of the day, that's how I would recommend approaching marketing and approaching content creation. Every big brand, every big business has what's called a creative director. I'm sure you guys have heard that term, right? These are people who are curating a brand, that are making an experience. We talked about branding through creating content, whether you're J. Crew and you're selling dresses, or you're Chess Fab and you're selling shoes, whatever it is, they all have a creative force that is making content that's inspiring. In the example of Chess Fab, they do lookbooks and J. Crew does, you know, blogs, and they have people that are creating content that really doesn't feel like marketing. Those are two brands that I know a lot of people are passionate about. So I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with the reality that content is marketing and marketing is content. And that's how I approach Glam.
Awesome. Yes. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just checking. I didn't know if you were like, I'm doing this and then I'm going to talk about something else. Okay, great. Okay, so I think really quickly before I jump into my marketing plan here, I got a question while we were talking, and this was one that was relevant to what we were saying. Apparently a mom asked, is your content, something like, is your content your product or service? And for me, no. My content is all of the things that you see on my blog and on YouTube. Everything that we do, this is content. But I don't sell this, right? Like this, I'm not making money from doing this. I don't make money from my blog posts. We do make money off of YouTube because YouTube has that ad revenue kind of built in, but it's not like a full-time income. Some people, obviously, some YouTubers do have it as a full-time income, but for the most part, the content that we put out is not, it's not where we make money. Like I make money for the most part off of my shop, off of the products that you can buy off of the Strange and Charmed shop. That's where all my income comes in, or like a vast majority of it. So our content, like my actual content, the stuff that I'm showing you guys, an Instagram photo, a blog post, no, that's not my product or service. It goes along with it, and I think that it adds to the experience of my brand, but that's marketing. Like that's me marketing myself. As Lisa Marie markets herself on her blog as being kind of like this lifestyle experience and this seasonal living, mentor basically, and I market myself on my blog as a productivity guru and someone who is all about, getting things done and making sure that we're achieving what we want to achieve so that we have more time to play, right? So that's like my brand, and Lisa Marie's got her brand, and these are all things that add to the experience, but they're not actually our products or services. My products and Lisa Marie's products, I've got digital products, Lisa Marie's got digital products. I have Empire Building, which is my business coaching program. And Lisa Marie also has her physical goods. Like you can buy her, her notebooks and her sweatshirts and all her, paper and glam, paraphernalia on her shop. And that is what our products are. And our services, but our blog is not. It's all marketing. Like our YouTube is marketing. So I hope that answers the question for you guys. Now, okay, so my marketing plan, I'm going to take this from I'm taking this very literally. So this is like generally what my marketing plan is. So first, I want to go into, we talked about the secret of marketing is good content, right? So this is stuff I think that you guys are going to want to write down. So for me, good content is at least one of three things: inspirational, educational, or entertaining. So all of the content that I put out on my blog and everything I do on YouTube and all the pictures that I take for my Instagram, whenever you guys see me putting out content to market myself and my brand and my products and my services, it's either inspirational, educational, and entertaining. And I would say that across the board, that's what good content is. There's not very many other options you've got. You're either informing people and educating them, inspiring and motivating them, or you're giving them pure entertainment. So for me, my rule of thumb is to be as original as possible. Now, I do firmly believe that when it comes to content creation, that everything pretty much has been done. But I do believe that everyone has their own spin to put on everything that's been done. Someone could do it differently and someone could do it better, and someone could totally flip the model on its head and create something awesome. So I think that you should never be afraid to be creating content, even if you feel like it's been done before. Like if you're just trying to strive for originality and to kind of share a new piece of information or a new viewpoint on something, your content's going to be great. Now, I've done a whole blog post on how to find inspiration online without being without being a copycat, because that is a big issue that, does hit the internet. Lisa Marie and I do have people out there that, swipe our content a little bit and, maybe are a little bit too influenced by us. And this is a problem that all good content creators face. It really is. But, it really is, it's like a gut check, if you feel good about what you're creating and feel like it came from inside you and it's original and you've put your own spin on it, then your content is probably going to be great, right? Because you're doing your authentic content, what is authentic to you. So good content, it comes in two different varieties, in my opinion. When it comes to content, you are either a creator or a curator of content, right? So Lisa Marie and I are both content curators and content creators. So you'll see a lot of original content on both of our channels, like the articles that I've written, like blog posts that I've written. Obviously, Lisa Marie and I take all of our own photos, so that is created content. And then there's situations where we curate content. We might share links to other websites or other things that we found, products or services that we've seen that aren't associated with us. We will share those, and that's content curation. Let's say put this, three ways, 3 forms of good content are inspirational, educational, entertaining, and then 2 ways to make the content. You're either a content creator or a content curator, and you don't have to be one or another. It's like a Venn diagram, okay? They can overlap. You can be both. You can be one, you can be the other, or you can be both, and that's completely fine. You just need to find the thing that works for you. Because a lot of people, email me and say to me, like, Alexis, you write a lot, you have a lot of blog posts, like, I'm not a good writer, how do I create content? Well, maybe writing, 1,200 word blog posts like I do is not the way that you're going to go with your content. Maybe what you need to be doing is finding blog posts from around the web and finding, inspirational information from around the web and sharing it with your community. Maybe that's the way that you need to be sharing content. So those are the 2 ways to make content. And now I'm going to jump into my marketing plan. So this is pretty simple. So with my marketing plan, I always strive to create original content across all of my platforms. And I use 3 main platforms for communication, which Lisa Marie does as well. And we both have the same 3. Our blog, our YouTube channel, and our Instagram are the 3 places where we're the most active. It's not the only place. Obviously, I've got a Twitter, and so does Lisa Marie, and we've got Pinterest pages, and I've got a Snapchat that I don't really use. There's so much social media out there, but you don't have to be using all of it. I like to focus on 3 things at a time. And I forgot to even mention Facebook. Lisa Marie is big on Facebook too. So Lisa Marie, you actually maybe have 4 actually, because you're really big on your Facebook groups. So Lisa Marie actually might have 4. But she's, for the most part, in her Facebook groups, I would say she's curating content, or at least creating a community where other people can curate content. So it's not some place where she actively needs to be posting like every day or however many times a week. But that's just food for thought for you guys, just the way different people use different mediums. Okay, so I strive to create different content on different platforms. So I take whatever my platform is, let's say it's YouTube, and when I make a YouTube video, the way that I approach it is I want to be sharing content via YouTube that is something that lends itself to the video sphere, which a lot of you guys are planner people. You guys have found me and maybe Lisa Marie through planning. A planner walkthrough is a great video to do because it's something that naturally is going to look wonderful in videos. It's going to be, I think video is a great way to express content when you're sharing like your planner and things like that. Anything that's visual, whenever you're trying to show people things like show and tell, a lot of times I like to use YouTube for that. So I just did a video the other day that was how I take photos for Instagram, where you guys are actually sitting with me. I'm sharing my tips and you actually get to experience me taking a photo and editing it for Instagram. That's something that I could have done on my blog, but YouTube was the best place to do it. So I create content based on what really works for that medium. So that's how I do it. And for me, there's very little overlap between my my platforms. You won't often see my YouTube videos on my blog. I do put them in there. I will sometimes put my YouTube videos in a blog post. Because perhaps I have something additional to share. Like the other day when we did the happiness video, I made the bookmarks, the free bookmarks that I put up on my blog, because this was something that, I wasn't going to be able to upload the bookmarks to YouTube. So I put it on my blog. It was something additional that I was adding to the conversation from YouTube. So really, when I put a YouTube video on my blog, it's because I'm adding something to the conversation. So for me, my focus is always trying to create as original of content as I can create, and to add value in all of the areas, which is why generally my blog posts tend to be longer, because I am quite a lengthy writer. Even when I'm curating content, if you guys saw that post that I put up on Tuesday, I shared like so many links to different articles that I had bookmarked. It was kind of crazy. It's like I can't write a short article. Like it's just impossible for me. It's really hard. So, my articles tend to be well thought out, well researched. I outline, I make sure I'm making a lot of points. I'm adding, resources in there. And I'm writing a cohesive article that someone could be sitting in their office and want, some productivity tips, and go to my blog and read and hopefully learn something and take something away from that. So that is basically how I approach creating my content for each platform. I really try to share what makes sense. And then, of course, on Instagram, you take pictures. Really, it's a lot of visual storytelling. If I want to show you guys a product, it doesn't need a whole video review. I'm not going to do a whole video review on a new YSL lip gloss that I bought. So I put it in an Instagram picture. That Instagram is a place where, honestly, I'm usually striving for inspiration. That's really what out of the 3 types of content, I'm really striving to inspire you guys by taking beautiful styled shots of my desk, sharing pictures of maybe some products here and there. But really, I strive for inspiration for the most part when it comes to my Instagram account. So the other way, that I market myself, or another part of my marketing plan, and that's pretty much the last thing, is that because I keep all of my platforms so separate. Lisa Marie has her blog that is Paper and Glam, that she puts everything into it. I tend to keep my things very separate. So what I end up having to do is every once in a while on my blog, I'll be like, oh, remember, I've got this YouTube channel you want to go to and see some videos, and I'll make a video and I'll say, let's, go head on over to my blog or follow me on Instagram. I try to make sure that I'm mentioning my other platforms occasionally through each platform, so that everyone knows if you're watching me on YouTube, well, she's got a blog, she's got an Instagram, I can go follow her there. Or if you're reading a blog post, I'll tell you to tweet me, so that you guys know that I exist in more than just one place, since, just going to my blog doesn't show you the complete picture. My complete picture, I live all over the internet. So you really need to be traveling to find me. So that is basically my marketing plan. And you guys, I've talked about this before. I create 3 blog posts a week, two videos a week, try to post on Instagram once a day. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it.
Yeah, so just to kind of unpack what both Alexis and I said, because I think we weren't quite on the same page. I thought we were taking each platform independently. So just to both Alexis and I, we use 3 platforms for content creation, and I would highly recommend you do the same. Please, 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 especially if you are a one-woman show, like Alexis and I are, please don't try to do like a video on Snapchat and a picture on Instagram and like a YouTube video and a blog post like every day or every other day. Please, I focus on 3 platforms. If you're killing it and you're able to like hire someone just create content for Snapchat, that is awesome, and more power to you. But if you're just starting out, definitely focus on 3 platforms and make them 3 different platforms, right? Like, I'm not saying, have 3 blogs, one for like scrapbooking, one for planning, and one for, Project Life, for example, if, you're a memory keeper like me. But focus on 3 platforms. That's going to give you visibility around the web, because you do want enough visibility around the web, especially as your business grows and you're looking to work with brands, you're looking to be paid for your reviews, you're looking to have a full-time income. It's very important that you are visible in multiple places across the web. And 3 is enough. I really do believe 3 is enough. And we're in like the dawn of social media right now. There are literally thousands of social media platforms that we haven't even heard of. And you know, you could pick one of those if there's one you're really passionate about and you think it's going to be the future, you know, please do. But really focus your energy so that you're not frenetic and you can deliver consistently across multiple channels. So that's why I would say pick 3. Also, I want to also unpack, I don't put everything on paperandglam.com. So most of what I create for Instagram is only on Instagram. Once in a while, if there's a picture I'm really proud of, or I'm really, you know, it's kind of core to what I'm doing, like club is a great example, right? Like I do a book club shot on Instagram and I do a book club shot on the blog when I kind of unpack the book club and I post the video. All of my YouTube videos, by and large, I would say 95%, there's a few that didn't make it to the blog, go on my blog, because I know there's a lot of people in my community, because they've told me, who only visit paperandglam.com and watch my YouTube videos through paperandglam.com. That is, they don't, you know, want to be on YouTube for whatever reason. So to me, it doesn't matter whether a Paper and Glam reader watches a video through YouTube or through Paper and Glam. I choose to use Paper and Glam as more of a hub for all of my content. So I also use that as my subscription list. So a lot of people, before I didn't have an email until this year, so I didn't have an automated email that went out, and I got literally hundreds of, why don't you have a subscription list? So you can subscribe and get the vast majority of what is on Paper and Glam. I do recommend you have sort of a hub. You have a place where a lot of your content is. For Alexis, she kind of has 2, well, I guess your platforms are really mutually exclusive, but having a place where people can consistently find you is just imperative, especially when you're just kind of getting started. And especially if you know that your audience is in a particular place. Like I know that I think very few of you guys who follow me are on Snapchat, and I'm not on Snapchat. I think that it's really cool and it would be a great platform, but I know that there's a lot of people who create content specifically for Snapchat, for example, and I've seen feedback in their communities that say, you know, please don't just put this on Snapchat. I really want to see it, but I don't, you know, I'm not on Snapchat. I hear that all the time with Instagram. So I do try to make Paper and Glam a hub, but you never want to be putting consistently the same content across platforms, because it doesn't give anyone incentive to follow you on multiple places. And then also that's not really an authentic way of marketing yourself across the internet. That's just kind of reposting the same type of information. So Instagram, I have the same philosophy as Alexis. I try to do about 5 shots a week, so about 1 a day. It's kind of like the gym. I shoot for all the days and I land on 5, winning, right? So about a picture a day on Instagram. YouTube, I only do a video a week. And please do what you can sustain. There are no rules. Whatever is sustainable for you, start there, and then you can always grow. And then paperandglam.com, I try to do 3 posts. It's been a kind of a busy June already, and we have so much going on in June. I think last week I posted 5 times, and this is much to my discredit. The week before that, I only posted twice, I think. I was traveling for work and it was super busy. So, you know, I wouldn't recommend that. Definitely pick get into a rhythm of posting that you can sustain. And I struggle here, right? Like I work full time and I easily put in 30 hours a week on Paper and Glam. So, you know, I'm definitely still going through growing pains, and I'm not full-time pro. And if that's you, please don't feel like you need to, you know, like measure up to like Alexis's ability to churn out product and churn out content, in products, both. You know, just take it at your own pace, one day at a time, because this marketing thing and this content creation thing can get really overwhelming, and the worst thing you want to do is burn yourself out. That is absolutely the worst. And for what was once something you loved and you were passionate about to become a chore or a job. So that's kind of my spiel on content creating for Paper and Glam.
Absolutely. And I think this is actually, it's a really good point, which is, and we've said this before, and I think you guys may know this, but I want to reiterate. Lisa Marie and I sometimes have different ways of doing things. And the truth of the matter is, there is no right way and there is no wrong way. It is whatever way is your way, like whatever way you want to do it. But I think that something you could pull out of this, right, is that, like with what Lisa Marie said, is that, you know, we focus on 3 because it's what's really like sustainable and it puts you in enough places so that people are seeing that you're visible and out there in the world. But if you can't start with 3, just start with 1 or 2. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to bite off more than you can chew. And really the big thing is with marketing is no matter how small you start, right? You just want to be consistent, right? So you never want to bite off too much and then are not able to consistently post. So maybe like one day you're like really energetic and like maybe for like a month you're like posting on your blog every day, and then you're posting on Instagram, you're posting on Snapchat, and you're making multiple videos a week. But then if you get burnt out, like it's not sustainable for you, that is a worse situation to be in than just starting with one platform and doing it really well. I mean, I know plenty of people who just do Instagram and they kill it on Instagram. And there's nothing wrong with the fact that they're not all over the internet. As they're ready to grow, as you're ready to grow, you can branch out. So really, this is really what works for you is really, we've always said this in all of our videos. I feel like we said it. You have to do what works for you. You know, for me, I don't, like Lisa Marie likes having the hub and that works for her. Having, you know, a hub right now is something that I've been thinking about doing with one of my platforms, but it's not something that I've ever really, I don't really feel concerned about it because I feel like everything flows into each other. If you go to my Instagram, you go to the bio, it sends you to my blog. My blog will send you to all of my social media and my YouTube. So it's not like I'm worried about people getting confused, really. And for me, it's much more important that I'm creating unique content for each of my platforms, because I got a question and I want to address it from apparently a mom, and I got to pull it back up because I think it was a little bit higher. She said, would you suggest not doing a video and a blog on the same content? I find a lot of things I have in mind can work for both, and that my readers don't cross over to viewers and vice versa. This is an issue that I also had, apparently a mom, and this is one of the reasons why I keep my content different across platforms. And I gave you an answer already that said I would not suggest regurgitating info. If you want to do a video and a blog post, make sure you're taking the content from 2 different angles. So this is the thing. In my mind, the way I look at it is if I make a video and then I take the exact same content and take all detailed pictures and basically regurgitate the info that I said in the video and put it in a blog post, I have done myself a disservice because I'm not encouraging people to go to the other platform. I want the people on my blog to go to my YouTube. I want the people on YouTube who don't read my blog to go to my blog, and I want everyone to follow me on Instagram. So follow at Misstrenchcoat and Paper and Glam right now if you're not. I'm sure you guys all are. But if you're watching this and you're not a follower, go follow us. So that is my philosophy, is that I don't want to give people the opportunity to say, oh, I don't have to go to her blog. She posts all of her videos. All of her blog content is her videos, so I can just watch her videos. I never want them to say that. Same thing with the people who read my blog. I never want them to be like, oh, I don't have to go to her YouTube. I can watch her videos in here. And that's a little bit of a different situation because it's embedded. But really, I want to make sure that my people who are following me in one place check me out everywhere else. So I make sure I add something different. So if you're doing a blog post like if I was doing a video and a blog post on a planner topic, I always make sure to add more content, or like the situation with the happiness planner, I had something else to share with you guys that worked for the blog. So it meant that if you wanted that thing that I showed you that was my freebie, you had to go to my blog. You had to. And I want you to look at it and check it out and read the stuff and get hooked, because that's my marketing plan. My marketing plan is to make sure you guys are hooked everywhere. It's like drug dealers. They give you a little bit for free so they get you hooked. I want you to be hooked on my content. And that is the way that I do it. And there was another question as well that I saw. Oh,
well, while you're finding it, I do kind of want to jump in here because we have different philosophies, because we have different businesses, different business models, Alexis and I. So Alexis's content is very heavy informational. She can write a 1,200 word blog post in like an hour. She can also do a video, you know, and some things, like one of the comments said, can go either way. Now, for my content, for example, home tours, there is no substitute for a video home tour, right? I can take the most beautiful styled shots, the most pinnable images you have ever seen, but there is no substitute for literally walking through my home with, sorry, it's raining really hard, guys. It's like pounding on my office here. You know, there's no substitute for walking through with a camera and giving you that experience. So I think that there are times when you can get two different experiences from the same content. So my last home tour was a spring home tour, and I'll do a summer home tour, and you guys know I'm really big into living seasonally if you follow me. So every season I do a home tour, and I shoot as beautifully styled pictures as I can. My goal is to make it like an editorial spread. Like, I want you to feel like you're looking at Architectural Digest or House Beautiful or Domino now that it's back, you know. So to me, there are times when it's okay to have overlap. I don't recommend, like Alexis said, to have consistent overlap, with the exception, like I mentioned, of the YouTube video, because to me, that's just a matter of display, right? Like, whether you watch it on my blog or you watch it on YouTube, you're still watching the video I created. It's still, you know, the views are still accumulating. That's just a display issue. And I know a lot of people, like I mentioned before, only follow on one platform. So for me, I do want there to be a hub. And again, this is where we have a little bit of a different philosophy. I am, at the end of the day, more concerned with building the story of my life through paperandglam.com for me to look back at, for, you know, people who, you know, many of you who have moved across the country. I have friends from home who go to Paper and Glam like every day to see, you know, what I'm up to. So there's really kind of a very fine line between my business and my blog, which is really the story of my life. So at the end of the day, if, you know, someone never visits my YouTube and subscribes because they always watch my videos inside paperandglam.com, that is fine with me. You know, that's really not a big priority. To kind of my fault, I don't focus very much on numbers. At the end of the day, Paper and Glam is fun. And whatever you're doing, whether you want it to be your full-time income or, you know, a side hustle, it really has to stay fun. So please I don't want, you know, one of the questions we got, and Alexis, I don't know if you had planned to address this, but it was on metrics. So I won't kind of dive into it now, but I don't want you guys to be so concerned about, you know, oh, I have to create this kind of content for this platform and this kind of content for this platform. So, you know, there can't be any overlap because I want people on all, you know, to follow me across the web. That can be a double-edged sword, because I know, I'm not going to use an example, but there's this, or a live example, but, you know, there's a few brands that I think make awesome content, but it is literally so overwhelming that I cannot digest it. They post like a YouTube video a day, and obviously they aren't one-woman shows. They post a YouTube video a day, and they post like 6 Instagram pictures a day, and they post, you know, stuff on Facebook, and I'm trying to think, and they do like blog posts, and there's all this like downloadable stuff, and clearly they have a team of people behind them, and that's, for me, it's so overwhelming that it keeps me away because I feel like I can't keep up. So because of that, I don't want to overwhelm anyone with content, and I want there to be a place, like this happens to me all the time, where I'm like, hey, I was on vacation, or I was traveling for work, or whatever the case may be. Let me see what Alexis is up to, or let me see what, you know, so-and-so blogger is up to. And I like that there's one place where I can kind of get the gist. And if I want to visit their Instagram feed and see what beautiful pictures they posted, I can do that. But for me, being overwhelmed with content is just as bad as creating the same content and like carbon copying it across platforms.
Yeah. So again, that's a good point. What Lisa Marie said about, oh, geez Louise, 2 things that she said that I want to touch on was, yes. Okay. So Lisa Marie has a full-time job, right? That pays her bills. So Paper and Glam does not, she doesn't need to be creating content all the time. She can just take it as being this sort of life, like she's documenting her life, right? That's not how it is for me. I'm not documenting my life with my blog, because my blog and my YouTube, like that's my business, right? So I am trying to make sure I'm getting more followers, and I want people to be going to YouTube and not watching the videos in my blog, because I want them to hit the subscribe button, because I want people to stick with me, because I need you guys to make money. Like, if I don't have you guys, I don't have anyone to be creating content for. I don't have anyone to share my ideas with. I'm not helping anyone if you guys aren't there. And that's what my business is all about. So for me, this is, like Lisa Marie said, this is my full-time income. So I need to make sure that I am capturing everybody that would want my content. So like Lisa Marie said, there's plenty of places online where, like, if you think about it, any magazine, right? Or any daytime talk show. When I go to the gym, I always watch The View. And they have a show every day of the week, right? Like Monday through Friday, and they've got blogs, and they've got social media, and they've got like their mailing list. And if you go to their website, there's tons of things going on, because they're a business, right? They are in the business of making money. They're sharing as much content as they can, because the theory is that they'll catch someone somewhere that'll get hooked. So that is very similar for what I need to do. In order for me to sustain my life, I need to be making money, and I need to be creating content, and it needs to be unique for me in order for me to be capturing people so that I basically can eat, right? So that's, for anyone who is someone who is trying to support a business, right? These are just two different strategies for how to do a business, right? So Lisa Marie's is her side hustle. That's what this whole thing started with, right? All of Glampire Chat started with the side hustle. And mine is not. It's a full-time. So it's completely different. And if you go to my blog, you don't know what I'm doing based on my blog. My blog, literally, I treat my blog the way Lisa Marie treats her home tours like editorial spreads. I literally treat my blog like a magazine. Although I'm the editor-in-chief, you don't get to know so much about me. I do share bits and pieces, but in order to get if you want to know more about Alexis's life, you need to be following her everywhere, because I leave like a little trail of breadcrumbs that you guys have to pick up. So that's just a complete difference in the way that we, the way that our businesses are, because that's just the situations that we're in right now. So the question that I found it. It was Holly's question about what would you say is the top 3 platforms to start with? And I think I replied to her already that there is no top 3 platforms. It's whatever works for you. Right now, the video and image platforms like YouTube and Instagram and Snapchat are blowing up. But if you're not someone who wants to talk on camera, and you're not someone who thinks they take good pictures or doesn't like photography, these are not the places for you to be. You need to be using the platforms that work for you. There are so many different platforms. I'll give you an example. I have someone in my empire building program who she was, when she came to me, she was concerned because she had a blog that she wasn't in love with. And she said, Alexis, I love Pinterest and I like taking pictures. And I'm like, well, then why do you have a blog if you don't like to write? Like, get rid of the blog, cut it loose, spend your time pinning on Pinterest if that's what you love doing, creating mood boards. Just do that and take pictures and put them on Instagram. Do that. You don't have to do the same thing that Lisa Marie and I are doing in order to be successful. There's plenty of people who are famous on Pinterest, right? Like, totally people who are killing it on Pinterest. I'm sure they're selling something, definitely selling something, or at least they're getting sponsored pins, because that is a thing, right? So it's, use the platforms that work for you, that speak to you, the places you like to hang out. You shouldn't be following what other people are doing. You need to be following what you want to do, what plays to your strengths. If you're a good writer, then you blog, I guess. If you're good in front of the camera, make videos. If you like taking pictures, go on Instagram. If you like mood boards, Pinterest. If you like little 140 character, playing with words, go to Twitter. Like, there is something for everyone in social media. You don't have to, there is no top 3. There is nothing that's necessarily better than others. Right now, they're just all growing at a different rate, but they're all popular. They're all important, and they're all valid, and they're all places where you can legitimately be building a business, whatever your business and your strategy is. So yeah, that was the question. Yep.
Okay. I just want to jump in. It is just because you may be into photography, please don't feel like you must be on Instagram or you must be on Pinterest. It is totally legitimate to have a photography blog. I have a lot of friends who have photography blogs, and some of them, for example, are wedding photographers or portrait photographers, and they use their blogs to showcase their work. So please don't feel like you have to be a writer to be a blogger, because I don't think that's true. My blog, so when I first started Paper and Glam, I thought I was going to be a writer. I really focused on Christian lifestyle writing because that is the season that I was in. I was going through a 20-something crisis, which I know some of you have, read that, and it's really resonated with you. And I was living from a very raw place, which is where I love to write. I don't like to write because I have information to convey. And Alexis loves to write. She has information to convey. These are two different styles of writing. I love to write, but I don't love to write because I have to write. I like to write because I just feel struck by something that's happening in my life, or something that I really want to share, that I just want to share an encouraging word about. It's kind of like, the best advice is what you need to hear the most. That's when I love to write. And I don't write so much in this season. I really focus on just getting content up for you guys and chatting with you through YouTube and through the Paper and Glam Facebook groups and other ways. But there can be seasons with your blog. Please don't feel like if you're you have to decide, I have a blog and I do like 1,200 word posts. Things are going to ebb and flow, especially when you've done this for a long time. It can really, right now I'm in a very, very busy season, right? I work full time. I do Paper and Glam almost full time. So for me, it's like, I can't sit down and spend a half day just writing something that I want to look back on and feel like it was just an incredible outflow of just the Spirit of the Lord in my life, working in my life. That's really where Paper and Glam started. It was me kind of documenting how the Lord was working in my life. Now it's that I would love to get incorporated that back in. So remember that business ebbs and flows, and there are different seasons in business. So as you develop your community, and this is something that Alexis and I both struggle with, we kind of are planner girls, right? So we are in the planning community, but neither Alexis nor I just started our blogs with that intention. But because that is where we developed quite a bit of following, we're under some obligation to continue to produce planner content. Planners is not what Alexis and I are most passionate about. Alexis loves business. A planner is a tool for business. I love living seasonally. I love creating, life is art. I love living from that perspective and treating my life as art. A planner is a means to an end for both of us. But because that's how a lot of our community relates to us, we create quite a bit of planner content, each of us. So at the end of the day, there's a lot that comes in to content creation. So there's no hard and fast rule. What's true today is going to be most likely will not be true 2 years from now. Example, I was making planners and actually giving away planner inserts that in 2012 were not relevant because the planning space wasn't there yet. Now it's huge, right? Example, scrapbooking was 2003, I feel like, up until maybe 2000, it's still alive and well, but it was huge there for a while, and that whole space kind of exploded when the economy did. So I don't want anyone to be married to a certain way of creating content, because it will change based on factors in the world, and it'll change based on what your audience wants to see. And unfortunately, sometimes that means Paper and Glam can't be so spirit-led like it was before. It was literally an outpouring of whatever was in my heart at the time. And there was, a small committed group. Now, I've committed to doing book club and inside my planner. And, I have recurring series like Glampire Chat. And I need to show up and execute for you guys. So all that to say, just remember, if something's not working, move on. If something is working, keep executing on it.
And on top of that, too, I just want to say, too, if something's not working and you really like it, don't give up on it. Just keep doing it, right? So that's the thing, is that, and earlier before when I said that you had to be a blogger if you wanted to be a writer, that was not, I didn't mean it that way. Lisa made a great point that there are photography vlogs. There are different ways for you to express yourself. Just do what works for you and what expresses what you want to do. And I would never say that just because you're not getting a lot of headway somewhere to give it up. I would say maybe just start thinking a little bit more critically about it and more creatively, because let me tell you, I loved Instagram from the day I got it on my iPad, because I didn't have an iPhone and I had an iPad, and that was the only thing I could use Instagram for before I bought an iPhone. And I loved Instagram, but I didn't know why my pictures weren't getting noticed, right? And I was really sad about that. And I thought I was taking good photos, and literally I stuck it out, just kept changing it up, trying to do more. And it eventually took off, right? Eventually it took off, and I figured out the magic secret sauce for me. So don't give up just because it isn't. If you love it, don't give up on it. If it's not working, try something new, try to learn, get more, do some research, figure out what you might be doing wrong. Because there's always different ways to approach something, and maybe the style that you're approaching a platform at is not working, but if you love the platform, don't give up on it. So should we start taking the questions that came from Lisa Marie? Do you want to start the questions? Yeah, so I'll pull up.
Yeah,
I have
you're finding a question. I definitely just want to piggyback on that. So the reverse can also be true. I did not like Instagram until I met Alexis, truth be told. I had to tweak some of my own habits so that I started to love Instagram. I used Instagram, I'm sure a lot of you do. I followed a lot of my friends. I followed some brands I loved, but I hadn't found a community in the blogging space that made me love Instagram. So a lot of times you have to use you have to engage and tap into a certain community to love a platform. So sometimes it's not the platform that's the issue, it's how you're using it. So I actually unfollowed everyone I know. For the most, there's a few people that I don't see in life because they've moved across the country that I keep them on Instagram. But I unfollowed everyone I know on Instagram because I decided I primarily wanted to use Instagram to document paper and glam. Instagram really works well with scrapbooking and those of us who want to document life, but it wasn't working how I was using it. So sometimes it just takes small tweaks to learn to love a platform. So to Alexis's point, don't give up on something just because you're not quite loving it, because sometimes it's the smallest things that make something come alive for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've got some questions. And I'm going to start with one that was actually asked in here. I pulled my lipsticks out because I know you guys, a bunch of you want to know what I was wearing on my lips. I'm doing an ombre number. I've been doing this recently. I'm wearing Sephora's Nano Lip Liner, and I can't see the color, but it's violet. I think it's violet. It's the purple one. And I'm wearing Dose of Colors Seductive on top. And I just lined my lips, and I do this ombre thing with my lips where it is darker in the corners, and then I put the pink over top of it, and this is what my lipstick looks like. I know you guys like it. So that was the first answer to your questions that you guys were looking for. I got a comment on my on Instagram that says, from Christina, who says, what portion of your time should be spent on marketing, and as a new business is you spending a lot of money on marketing? Lisa Marie already touched on, we don't spend money on marketing. I mean, other than planner supplies sometimes, when you're buying things or upgrading your lens or something like that. But we don't actually spend money on marketing, really. It's money that we were going to be spending anyway when we do spend money. So what portion of your time should be spent on it? As much as you want, really. I mean, because the way my business is structured, my income is mostly passive. I have my shop with the digital products. I don't ship anything out. And then I create, I write for my workbooks and create my workbooks for the program. And I have people that I get on calls with. But it's that really, the actual work for my business, takes very little, some very small percentage of my time. For the most part, I am creating content. That's what the vast majority of my time is. So that's just the way it works for me. But that may not be what works for you. So it depends on how much time you need to be spending in your day on your actual creation. If you are an Etsy shop who makes handmade quilts, obviously that quilt is going to take a long time to make. So you may have less time to dedicate to the marketing of that quilt. So you might just want to be really smart about the way that you market and try to just do some like, guerrilla marketing where it's just like wham, bam, because you have to spend your time on your handmade item. So it really just depends on what your business is, what you're trying to achieve, how much time works for you. And the next question was, if you could only spend 10 minutes a day on marketing, what tools would you choose to use? Well, in 10 minutes, Instagram. That's about it. I would take a photo and put it on Instagram. That's probably the best for me personally. But you might be on Twitter if you like to say funny things and like to, hop on the trending topics and things like that. It might be Twitter. It would probably be a social media platform that's very quick. Maybe a quick Facebook post, something like that. But for me personally, if I had 10 minutes, it would be Instagram. I'm trying to look through. I know we've got more questions in here.
So I'll jump in if you want, Alexis. So we got a good question from Carmen Forever. Well, they're all good questions, but she said, I work a 9-to-5 too, and she appreciates the content advice. What's a good budget to buy new products? So this is very difficult when you're just starting out. So when you're brand new, if you're, fresh out of college, I started paper and glam fresh out of college. I started it when I was 21, the year I graduated from college. So I'm, like I said, about to turn 29. So, that was almost 8 years ago. My budget now clearly is completely different than it was in 2008. So I know this is kind of trite advice, but please just do the best you can with what you have in that moment. And most of the really equipment is pretty accessible. Of course, if you do YouTube, eventually you're going to need to have an HD camera, but nothing stops you from filming a home tour on your iPhone, or either one, I guess, Yeah, exactly. Do what you can where you have and slowly build things up. This is a marathon. This is not an overnight success. I don't know anyone, unless they were in a similar industry, that then went out on their own, that, started a blog or had mad resources from another source outside of themselves, that started a blog or started a shop or started anything. And, the 6 months later, they were killing it. Sometimes if people aren't following you yet, it's because you're not quite good enough. And that is true for me. And I know that's hard advice, and I'm sure Alexis would probably agree. And I'm not saying I'm the best YouTuber or the best blogger. I have miles to grow and, miles to go with content creation and all of this. I have huge dreams that I don't have the skill set to execute or the tools. So what's really important is just doing what you have and practicing, because you're not like, when you move from like an iPhone to a DSLR, that skill set for editing and filming and creating content is just going to like get a better frame, essentially. Think about you're painting a picture. And when you upgrade with like new products or like the coolest thing, everyone wants to share the cool thing. I totally get it. It's really hard when you're on a limited budget. So do what you can where you are, because a lot of people are going to resonate. That's going to resonate with so many people. I get literally hundreds of emails that say, I really want to be in this planning community, but I can't afford an Erin Condren planner. I can't afford a Kiki planner. And I made a free planner. So people really want an update of that. And I would love to give them one if I could find the time to make it happen. But the point is, whatever you're doing, like I made a free planner because I couldn't afford an Erin Condren planner, right? And that started my blog. So wherever you are, that's going to resonate with people out there. So as long as you're, whatever you're doing, as long as you're doing authentically, it doesn't matter if you're sharing the coolest thing or have the nicest camera on the market or whatever. That isn't important. I would say just set aside a certain amount of money that when your business, especially when your business starts making money, almost all of until this year, every penny Paper and Glam made went right back into Paper and Glam. So continue investing and continue saving, but please don't let it stop you or feel like, if you don't have a budget to create content. I really, Instagram's free, right? Like, I think you can start a blog. I think Blogger might even be free. And I mean, it's not the best platform, but there's very few barriers to entry right now.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I mean, seriously, I started with you guys. I started with just like a regular point and shoot camera, filming my YouTube videos and taking pictures for my blog. And, it took, let me see, I think Strange and Charmed officially launched in 2012. I had been blogging before in other platforms, like in other blogs, but then I had Strange and Charmed, which was going to be a new venture. And it wasn't really until last year, right, that things really started taking off. It took me 2 years. You guys, I was blogging 2 to 3 times a week for 2 years. Like, you know, it wasn't something that was going to happen overnight. And another thing I want to make sure you guys know is that, to be completely honest with you, businesses don't necessarily need to have huge followings to be able to produce not large incomes. I'm not saying like millions of dollars, but an income that might sustain you. I know plenty of businesses that they have small lists, like a few hundred people on their list, but somehow the people are really dedicated and they really like the service that the person provides. And that's all they need. Like, that's all they need is a couple of clients in order to sustain them. So it depends on what your business model is. It depends on what your business plan is, what you want, like, you know, what your products are, what you're doing, and what works for you. But don't be afraid of being small. Like, you will grow organically. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a big proponent of growing organically because personally, I think that businesses that go viral, you shoot to the top real fast and you fall and you burn in a fiery crash is a lot of times what ends up happening because they can't keep up. So growing organically is a wonderful way to grow. Like, it's really the best way to grow, I think, because it's so manageable. So I got a couple questions here. One of them is on boosting Facebook posts. Someone asked, Hair Baby said, on Facebook, do you think paying for a boost is worth it? Now, I think this is I'm slightly hesitant to answer this question, but I feel like I have a nice answer, which is Facebook is very complicated. I will say that. I would not pay to boost a post until you've done your research and really understand the way that Facebook's marketing and Facebook ads and Facebook boosting posting works. Because unfortunately, just the flat out truth is that Facebook will take your money to boost your post, but their algorithm is betting against you. Their algorithm is not built for businesses to succeed, although they will take your money. So do your research, make sure you know what you're doing before you put money in any form of advertising, but particularly Facebook posts, because that really is a place it's so tricky. Another question I got from Jamie Dowd is, I keep reading when you start a website that you want to gather email addresses, you need to give something away in order to get your email opt-in. So this is an email opt-in question. And she asked, do I agree that you need to give something away? I think it's a very good marketing practice that if you're asking people to get on your email list, unless you've got fabulous content that people don't want to miss, the way that Lisa Marie was saying that, like, lots of people were emailing her and wanted her to put together an email list so that they could get her emails. Unless you're getting like overwhelming people who just want to be subscribed to you via email, yeah, you're going to probably need to do something. It doesn't need to be a free product. Like, it could be like just extra content, right? It could be like a collection of pretty pictures, or it could be like a post on a really cool topic that you're just not going to share on your blog. You're just going to give it to the people who have signed up for your email. So yeah, I think that free products are a wonderful way. And Lisa Marie already touched on this. We give away a lot of things for free. We give away like free products point blank. So there are every month in my shop and Lisa Marie's, you can download Lisa Marie's free life list and whatever my printable is for the month. And Lisa Marie's got her, her book club stickers and her book club journaling cards. And I've done other freebies like the bookmarks, and I've done like sets of like free journaling cards as well. So I think that freebies are always a great way to get attention. I think that it's a good way to draw in eyeballs. But the point is that if the eyeballs don't land on things that look good, right? If you don't have consistent content, if you're not putting your best into it and being creative with your content, a lot of the eyeballs are going to look away. They're going to come for the freebie and then they're going to walk away. So you really just want to make sure this is like a holistic thing. You want to make sure you're doing slow and steady, doing what you can with what you have. But I just stay away from wanting to be viral or thinking that you're going to grow and be humongous overnight, because it really is. It's not worth the trouble.
Well, and not only that,
mm-hmm.
it can be really detrimental, because I know there's bloggers that I maybe followed a couple years ago and it wasn't quite my cup of tea. And then I rediscovered them like 3 years later, but they weren't, I've seen that before. That's not, that's not my jam. And come to find out, they are killing it now. So please, 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 the reason we wrapped marketing together with content is because I don't want anyone to start even thinking about marketing until they feel like they have content that is consistent, sustainable, and not only that, but helpful. At the end of the day, you need to be of service. And definitely ask yourself the question, why? What are my core values when I create this content? Alexis's core value is helping small businesses, helping online entrepreneurs. My core value when I create content for Paper and Glam is living life as art. So whether that's living life seasonally, documenting life, making styled shots, that's my core value. So take whatever your core value is, once you have that nailed down, create content from that place. Always overflow of what you want to give back to the world. And when you can do that consistently, then start thinking about marketing. So many times I see the cart before the horse, right? Really old analogy, always relevant. Content is queen. Queen, queen, queen. Make sure, like in chess where you have your queen and like the queen can do anything on the chessboard, that is your content. Marketing might be king, but content is queen. You have to have, the queen behind the scenes. You're not going to get very far. Even if you do, spend $5 on a killer marketing campaign that gets 500,000 views. If you go viral and you get 500,000 views that aren't next day, you haven't accomplished anything. So you need to make sure the content that resonates, and it's easy to say if that's happening because people will leave you comments, people will send you emails and say, this really impacted me, thank you for putting it into the world. And that can really guide how you're making content and also probably guide how you're going to market yourself. So definitely, I kind of got off on a tangent there.
No, and actually you brought up another point that I really wanted to bring up, which was the so don't think about marketing until you've got your content, because content is, I say content's king, but but your content in and of itself is your marketing too. If you're creating good content, it's going to be hard for people to miss it, right? So you're not going to have to do, not to say that you're not going to have to do good promotion when you have good content, but I don't do a lot of promotion. I don't feel like I do a lot of promotion. I just make my content and people come because the content I create, like Lisa Marie said, is helpful. And I just want to make sure people know I'm not all about business. I am a productivity guru. I'm all about helping people be more productive, whether it's your business or you have got a career or you're a stay-at-home mom and you just want life hacks. That's what I'm all about. So just wanted to clarify, because I'm not just business. I'm not just for business people, although I do have my business coaching program. So I know it gets a little confusing. So your content will market itself if it is helpful. The reason that I write 1,200 word blog posts is because I know that SEO, search engine optimization, really loves my posts. They're filled with keywords and I'm answering questions and I'm giving resources, and I rank high in SEO because of that. So that's one of the reasons I do the things that I do, is because my content does bring me new people without me having to do any active promotion. On YouTube, my videos, I make sure that my title makes sense so that anyone searching, like Lisa Marie will do this too, like Plan With Me, Erin Condren Life Planner. If someone's looking for an Erin Condren Life Planner, they are going to find Lisa Marie. If you search ways to personalize a file fax, you will find me. That's what ends up happening because I've created the content that draws the eyeballs to me. So your content really is it can be your entire marketing plan, just having good content. So focus on your content, really work at it. Practice makes perfect. You don't have to be a success overnight. You can grow slowly, and that's the best way to do it. So I hope that answers that. Did we have any other questions? I know we want to get to that analytics one.
Yeah. And just to round that out, your content will do the walking. Your marketing will do the walking. Prime example, right? Pinterest. so many people find Alexis and I from Pinterest, and we do nothing but update our blogs, right? And people pin those images, and then other people repin them, and it's like, it goes out into the world. So that's how social media is, right? Links are the currency of our time. So really, I know it's really lofty, like, oh, your content will like market itself, and it's as simple as that. But it really is. If you put yourself out there consistently and consistently deliver the same quality content, you will develop a community, and they will want to tell everyone about you. It'll be grassroots. They'll want to tell their mom and their sister and their boyfriend and their husband and their brother. They'll word of mouth. I get tons of emails say, my daughter, my mom, and I all watch your videos. So I've got like 3 generations, watching videos together, and that's awesome. So it sounds really lofty, especially when you're just getting started, but I promise you the content will drive your traffic at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And going along with that, people wanting to share your stuff, when you write a blog post, like this happens to me all the time. I know it happens to Lisa Marie. When we write a blog post or do a YouTube video that solves a big problem for someone, the first thing that person normally does is puts it on their Facebook page and says, I just watched this awesome video. It helped me figure out how to do this. If you're looking to do this too, here you go. And you want to know why? Because people love to be viewed as an expert themselves. People love when people when they can give people advice. Like you sitting there, whoever you are out there on the internet, you probably love it when you can give someone advice and it's helpful to them, because it feels good when we can help other people. So if by sharing my great content helps you help your neighbor with a productivity dilemma that they're in, it's a win for me and it's a win for you. So this is really, content does speak for itself. That was it. Do you want me to go into the analytics thing?
Yeah, sure. I was on mute just because I was typing, so
yeah, no problem. No, I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure. They're quiet for a while, and I was like, I'm not going to keep talking.
Absolutely. I think, let's get into that analytics question, because I think it's a great question.
So someone had asked on Instagram about analytics. It was Jeanette. Asked about how we track what works and what doesn't work when we are trying new marketing strategies and analytics and things like that. First of all, with analytics, there's lots of different analytics programs and things out there. YouTube has all of its own analytics built in. So if you've got a YouTube channel, go over to your creator central or whatever it's called, and you'll find under community, I think it is under community, or no, it's under like analytics. It's under video analytics, I think. So you will actually be able to see what videos are doing well, which ones aren't, which ones are getting likes, which ones are getting more comments. You'll actually be able to get a lot of information from that. So you'll be able to see, what you should be focusing on. I will say that for me personally, I look at that information, I go, oh, that's nice. But I don't really let analytics drive what I'm going to create. Number one, and I think, and Lisa Marie and I both have this problem, I think, is that we're sometimes a little bit ahead of the curve. So we kind of know what's going to be big next sometimes, and we kind of like know. So we'll be talking about something that might not be popular right now, but in a few months it's popular. I can't tell you how many videos I've had that I've put it up. It's gotten like no views, like not none, but it's gotten not a lot of views. And then like a month or two passes and it blows up. Why? Because we were just a little bit ahead of the curve. So I don't like to look at my analytics and think, oh, I have to do exactly what my analytics says and make more of the videos that my analytics says. Because if I went by my analytics, all I'd be making is planner walkthrough videos. If I did what everybody in my community asked me to do, I would only be doing planner walkthrough videos. And Lisa Marie already touched on this before. We are in the planner community, but planners are not our be all and our end all. So I do not look at my analytics and say, okay, I need to follow exactly what my analytics says, because I know that that's going to be a really quick way for me to burn out. And people are going to get burned out on my content if every day I post a video that's like a walkthrough of my planner or like how I've set up my planner. It's just not going to work. So that's why I focus on the topics, like for me, productivity. It's like, this is where I really see, for me, I see that's where my community is going to be going, is towards productivity, because you use a planner to be productive. It's one of those things. It's a tool to get you to a certain end. So that's why I choose to talk about that's how I choose my content. I do it based on what I feel like the trends are. And I don't worry too much about my analytics. But then again, I am in a privileged position in which I do have enough people coming in and things like that to my content. So it really is one of those situations where I would suggest sticking to a strategy for a little bit to see how it's working. And if you don't think you're getting what you want out of it, pivot a little bit. Like, I like to do these little shifts. Like, I wouldn't start with a beauty vlog, a YouTube channel on beauty, and then be like, you know what, beauty's not working. I'm going to drop it. And now I'm going to go and talk about just planners. And if that doesn't work, then drop it. And I'm just going to be talking about cooking or something like that. So I would make sure you stick with it and just do slight pivots to see what people want. If that's what you're trying to do, is gain an audience. But at the end of the day, I think you need to be making your content for yourself personally. That you need to be loving your content yourself. And I have to say that I've had so many videos where it wasn't a popular video. I'm like, this was my awesomest video ever. Like, I thought it was great. Like, I loved it. And maybe I'm just ahead of the curve. That's it. Like, maybe that's it. But it's just, use analytics wisely. And so just talking about some other analytics things. For my blog, I use Google Analytics. It's probably, I'm sure Lisa Maria will agree, Google Analytics is the only way. Like, if there's other analytics, I actually have more than one analytics program installed in my blog, just because I like to cross-reference. But Google Analytics is the best one. So if you want one, go to Google Analytics. That's the only one you're going to need to see who's coming in, where people are coming from, figuring out what searches people are doing to find you, what pages are popular and things like that, where people are coming in from. Analytics like that are one of the things, like Lisa Marie said, we get a majority of my blog traffic comes from Pinterest. And all I do on Pinterest is pin my blog posts. I don't do anything. I just pin stuff. So that's one of those things where it's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm pinning. I just need to make sure I'm doing it because obviously Pinterest is a driver. So it's one of those things where, although Pinterest isn't a focus for me, it's a place where I know I can't ignore it because it's very important to my traffic. So when it comes to Instagram, there is a website called, is it Iconosquare? Is it Iconosquare? Oh, no, that's the app. Okay, there's an app called Followers Plus. But that's not what I'm talking about. There is a web, go to the web. It's called, I'm going to check this right now. It's Iconosquare. It's Iconosquare. It used to be called Statagram. So Iconosquare, Iconosquare. That is a place where you can go and you can see in-depth analytics, more than Followers Plus. Followers Plus just tells you how many new people subscribed, if someone's blocked you, things like that, it is helpful. I do think Followers Plus is helpful, but Iconosquare gives you lots of analytics. Twitter has its own built-in analytics too, which, funny enough, I just discovered it a few months ago. I really don't focus on my Twitter very much. Again, it's just a place that basically tweets out the things that I do automatically. But there are built-in Twitter analytics, and I think it's somewhere. I think it's up there in the Twitter header somewhere. You can see it's probably analytics.twitter.com or twitter.analytics.com or something like that. But you just have to activate that or just access it. And actually, it's pretty awesome because the Twitter analytics actually lets you see. They actually keep month over month for a good amount of time, so you can actually see how things are going. So that's Instagram. Facebook has built-in as well. Facebook has built-in analytics for their pages. So you can see how many people have, shared or how far the post has reached, I think is what they call it. So there are built-in analytics in Facebook as well. So a lot of these programs have built-ins. And then just a few of them like Instagram and obviously your website. Your website may have built-in analytics, like mine has built-in analytics from WordPress, but I rely mostly on the Google Analytics. So, Lisa Marie, anything else to add with that?
I just want to touch back on something you said. I have Google Analytics installed. I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I looked at it. You really need to get a snapshot of what you need on Google Analytics or any sort of tracking. It can be really overwhelming what you get in there. Here's what you need to know. Number one, referral rate. Where is your referrals coming from? How are people finding you? Is your number one referral Pinterest? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? How are people finding you? That's the number one thing you need to know. Beyond that, analytics aren't very helpful for me. I know that when I post a planner video or a planner post, it's going to get tremendously more views and likes and all of that than the rest of my content. And once you start creating content, you'll know in your heart what people want to see. And that may or may not drive what you create. And it should to an extent. You don't want to lose your core community, but it's very important to do what you're passionate about. So I want to make sure no one is living and dying by numbers, because in a prime example, I alluded to this earlier, but it's such a good example. In 2012, I couldn't afford an Erin Condren planner. I busted out InDesign and I was like, I can make this. And I made it and I gave it away. I thought it was going to be the biggest thing. I was like, this is so cool. I just reproduced this like $60 planner, in a couple of days, and it was literally identical. And I did a daily sheet, and you could like pick what you wanted. And I gave it all downloadable for free. And I thought it was so cool. I thought it was going to blow up. Nah, not so much. If I had done that now, sweet Lord Almighty, glory to God in the highest, it would have blown up. So sometimes, like, timing is everything. As long as you're staying true to what is important to you, your marketing's going to go miles, and your content's going to do the walking. So I just don't want anyone. It's important to know how people are finding you, because you can make the coolest content out there, but if no one knows it's there, you haven't gotten anywhere, like I said earlier. So beyond referral rate, I would kind of like, okay, that's nice to know, and I would continue going in the direction that you're passionate about, because there's just so many things that go into it. And Alexis made a prime example, also has a prime example. It is no secret that the corporate model is completely antiquated. In the next few years, there's going to be a huge push into people wanting to get into a more creative culture. And I know so many of you guys are relating to this right now, and please leave a comment. No one wants to sit until 5 every day and wait to go home. That is a thing of the past. People don't retire with gold watch at the end of their day. And that's where at the end of their, time with a company. And this is where Alexis's content is going to be so helpful. People aren't quite there yet. A lot of people just want to organize their life, myself included, but that's going to be so, so important in the next few years. So she's just ahead of the curve. And she's so passionate about it. So if that's you, focus on that. Do not focus on the metrics, because if we did that, we'd be completely different content creators.
Yeah, and just so like I said, I don't, like Lisa Marie said, I don't really look at my analytics and analyze them, right? Like, I really don't do too much. What I will say that I use my analytics for, number one thing I use it for, is when I'm setting goals and as a metric for myself. Because I will say that although living and dying by your analytics is not a good idea, and I'll give you an example of that in 1 second. Living and dying by your analytics is not a good idea, but setting goals for yourself and saying, I want to strive for this amount of views or this amount of page views. Like, I think goal setting like that is great. And I think that is a great thing to have your analytics for, because if you don't use your analytics, you're not going to know how many people are visiting you, and you don't know if your efforts are moving the needle. So like I said, that good example is that you guys may not know this, but throughout the year, people's web habits change. So right now, my blog is getting less page views than it did in December or January, because I'm planner and productivity related. So new year, when the planners are coming out, more people are searching for planners and productivity. But more people are searching online during the winter because it's cold and people are at home and they're inside. So right now, I'm getting less page views, but technically my ranking is higher than it was. So this is one of these things that it's like the ebb and flow of the internet. I'm getting probably 50,000 less page views than I was in January and December, but my ranking has increased because overall, all blogs and websites are getting less traffic right now. So this is one of those things where unless you know what's really going on, you could see that and go, oh, I'm terrible, I'm horrible, I'm losing steam and less people are coming. No, it's just the summer. Less people check the internet on the summer. It's just the way it is. People are outside in the pool and at the beach. So you're not going to get as many people coming to your site looking for planners while they're at the beach. I mean, maybe the people in this conversation would be at the beach looking at planners. I'm sure Lisa Marie and I will be in Aruba looking at planners on our phones. But the point is that the analytics really help you set goals. Don't live and die by it, because there are ebb and flows in the way that things work. And technically my blog is more popular now than it was a few months ago when I was getting 50,000 average more page views a day, or a month. So just something to keep in mind. So is that about it? Was there any other questions that you guys had from, and Lisa Marie, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Is my audio?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Is my audio being funny?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I'm hearing something in my end, so I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
It must just be my headphones.
Yeah, there's some really specific questions, but nothing that I don't think we've talked about. When am I posting my next Inside My Planner? That will be later this week with the Erin Condren launch. I'm also giving away 20 planners to celebrate 20K. So get excited for that. Noelle would like a a one-on-one coaching call with you. And I know you have an architect path, I think, for that.
So Empire Building, if you guys don't know, if you guys want more information, things like that, I've got Empire Building, which is my online business program. You can buy either the workbooks individually, and I've got 3 workbooks out so far. The 4th one will be out very soon. I'm polishing that one off as we speak. And you can purchase a path, an actual coaching path, which is, I have a blueprint path where you get all of the blueprints at a discounted price, plus access to a Facebook group where I do private Q&As and I do additional resources. And I have something called the architect path, where you get all of the books at a discount, access to the Facebook group, plus 2 coaching calls with me and a custom content development action plan where I actually review your stuff and I tell you what I think you should do from my point of view. If I were you, what I would do. So if you go to my website, strangeandcharm.com /empire building, there's a link right on my page. You'll see it if you have any more information. And the 2 paths are actually on sale right now. So if you go over to my shop and see them, they're actually on sale. Yeah, that's how you guys can work with me if you guys have any more questions.
We got one last question, and I don't think we're going to have time to address it, but I do kind of want to at least set it up. And that is, we know that there's a huge ebb and flow with the internet. A great example is in retail. There's a rule of thumb in retail where if you don't make enough to survive the whole year in the holidays, you won't make it, right? That's one we're all really familiar with. You pretty much have to be able to cover all of your expenses from Thanksgiving to Christmas, or it's a wrap. And that's why we have so much marketing, it's before Halloween and we start seeing Christmas stuff, right? And that's why. So there are things that are important for online businesses too, that really do help drive traffic. And Alexis and I are really kind of tag teaming this, and we've learned a lot of things about, we both saw huge spikes in our shop, the beginning of spring. And that's something we're going to need to remember. And maybe next year we'll have a spring sale or something to that effect. So that's something that Alexis and I are really still unpacking. There are things that, we can do, and you'll see that's why a lot of vloggers do Vlogmas. It's because people are home and it's cold out and it's Christmas and it's internet palooza. That's why you see so much Vlogmas stuff, because it's worth it for the view count and for the visibility that you get from it. And the summer goes down. I'm sure you guys have seen beauty bloggers do makeup mayhem, and there's a lot of stuff that people do to kind of help with traffic during the summer, because there is that lull. And retailers see that too, because people are paying for vacations and stuff like that. So I don't know that we're almost at a place where we can do a full Glampire chat on it, because this is our first year in business for both of us. So we're trying to understand what the seasonal shifts are, because I think it's going to be really important, especially for those who are like Alexis, who this is their full-time bread and butter, because if you have a huge drought in views or income, you need to plan for that and kind of counteract it. So that was a great question.
What was the actual question though? I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
The question was, Alexis, do you have things that you do during the summer to help drive traffic?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So that was good. You handled it. I mean, at this point, no, I really don't, other than just trying to kill it and just do some fun stuff. But luckily for me, although the shop has only been going since October, I've seen that although I did have a spike in spring with my shop, I have still had, like, for the last like 4 months, I think, my shop has had pretty consistent numbers. So I'm lucky enough that things have been balancing out, which is good. I think that having a program like my program, Empire Building, actually, I think that's been helping because all year round people are searching for business advice. And summer is actually probably a really good time for that too, because, you know, summer breaks and people are, and students are out of school, and, you know, college students who are trying to, you know, maybe start their own little businesses online. But yeah, so far I've just been taking things as it comes. I haven't really developed like any like strong plans for it. I would say that right now I don't need to, but if that ever came up, you know, maybe it would be something I'd have to think about.
Yeah, for me, the fall through Christmas through about January is like internet palooza. A lot of it is because people are looking for new planners about that time. Some of it's the fall. People get really excited for the fall, and it kind of is the start of a new fiscal year. So I think that that's probably true, Alexis, you would say. But yeah, well, we're going to have to collect some traffic and get back to you guys on that one because we're definitely still learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've gone almost 2 hours. I can't believe it.
I know, that was quick.
So if no one has any more questions, then we are going to hit the hay now because it's almost 11 where I am. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that you guys got something out of this or learned a tip or two that you didn't know before. Absolutely make sure you are shooting us any pictures you have from tonight or any Glampire inspired stuff that you guys want us to see on Instagram or Twitter. And the next Glampire Chat, again, these Glampire Chats are the first Wednesday of the month at 9 p.m. So mark your calendars for whatever day that is in July. So
and let us know what you want to talk about next, because we don't have a plan yet, and we need one. It'll be here before you know it.
Exactly. So thank you guys so much for watching. Elisa Marie, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, thank you guys so much for hanging with us.
Okay, guys. So we will see you guys later. And yeah, make sure you're following us on all social media and are checking out our blogs and YouTube and all that jazz. And we will see you in the next chat.